Godzilla versus Kong. I was really expecting him to pick up the King Kong in this. I'm going to try not to spoil too much, but have a care. I'm going to mark it and let you know at the end of this video, I am going to talk about the winner. King Kong versus Godzilla. Godzilla versus King Kong. Movie starts off on Skull Island, showing after the last 30 or so years what Kong has been doing. He's been chilling, scratching his tush, taking naps, sticking his head in a waterfall to take a shower and stuff, and hanging out with a little girl who makes puppets of him. That's cool. And then it shows what Godzilla's been doing. And Godzilla's kind of been hanging out, swimming through the oceans, finding apex bases and blowing them up. Unfortunately, he's been wrecking the town that they've been in too. He hits Pensacola. I lived in Pensacola for a while. Yeah, you gotta go. So, what was funny, CNN was in this. CNN showed up and they're covering Godzilla. And it must have really been CNN because it looked like a CNN broadcast. They label the star, the female star, the female lead in this movie, the Kong Whisperer. But she's not really the Kong Whisperer because she doesn't talk to Kong. She doesn't control him, feed him, or nothing. She's just studying him. The little girl can, she can talk to him and everything. So I don't know why she was the Kong Whisperer. That was weird. Mr. Skarsgård, they show why he's involved with this whole thing. He was working with Monarch, and he had some ideas about, the hollow earth, and he made some mistakes, and it cost someone their life. So Monarch let him go, and he's pretty much considered a quack now. But the bad guys need him. So the bad guys convince him to do this thing for them, and they convince him it's good. So now he convinces somebody else to help him do this thing. You've seen the trailers. It's Capture Kong. He convinces somebody to help him catch Kong for these people who he thinks they're doing a good thing. They want to catch Kong and turn him loose on Godzilla. Need Kong because he can find a power source that they need to power whatever. I'm not actually going to say, but I kind of think you already know. They need to power something, and they don't have enough power to move it, so they need more power. And they mentioned something. The power source that they're trying to get is almost identical to the power source of Godzilla when they track Godzilla. So it's the core of the planet. So is Godzilla part of the Earth? Is he like connected with the Earth somehow? I don't know. But it was interesting. I thought that they were going to expand on that. They did not. But, so they got to get this power source. And they get Kong down there. And he finds the axe. Everybody knows he was going to go down there and find the axe. And it was buried in the skull of a previous Godzilla creature. So one of Kong's people had killed one of Godzilla's people with that axe, and I guess he's dead too because the skull was cracked and the axe was in the skull. I was thinking I'd like to know that story, but they didn't elaborate. Godzilla, or Kong rather, either humans were down there, which from what they say is kind of impossible, or Kong's people made doors. They made doors and they had like a secret way to let other Kongs know how to open the door. And they had a statue. They made an axe. They had a throne and some other things. And I'm thinking, these are some pretty smart giant monkeys. I I have theories about that. I'm curious about it, but they didn't expand on that either. They were in there and they're looking around and they see the statue and none of them says, hey man, did King Kong make a statue? Nobody said anything. They see the door that he has to work open to get open and nobody says, is that a door? They don't expand on it. And I'm thinking, there's an axe. They didn't even say, I wonder what that axe is made of. Look, is that a giant axe? Nothing. They were just like, oh, yeah, okay, door, axe, statue. They didn't say anything about it. I would have had questions. In this movie, the main thing that everybody wanted to see was a fight. There were 3 main fights and 2 fights to the side, not really that important, but 2 other fights that lasted maybe a minute, 2 minutes, or something like that. But the main fight involved a drop kick, a Superman punch, and a bionic elbow. If you know Dusty Rhodes, the bionic elbow. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of wrestling stuff in there. And it was real interesting. It was really good. I enjoyed all of the fights. I enjoyed all of the movie. I did not enjoy the little girl going around, she's in middle school or high school or something, and she helps this guy steal his brother's van, and she drives around to find somebody she'd never met before to ask them questions about Godzilla. When her father works there, she talked to him, he wouldn't give her answers. I didn't understand that either. She just walked right up into the camp. You don't do that. You don't just walk right up into camps. Trust me. I know. You don't do that. Your kid's friend, whatever, you can't just walk up in there, man. But she did, and he was talking to her and telling her that he couldn't tell her anything, and she was like, you need to do this and that. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with that little kid? She had like a sugar deficiency or something. She was yelling at her pop, you need to do this. Her pop is supposed to be the specialist, right? And she's yelling at him. I don't understand what her connection to Godzilla is. That she's got to be like, yeah, you better do this and that. And I'm like, what is happening with that child? And then she went on like a Goonies style adventure with her friend and a man that she just meets, who she admits is probably a little strange. And they go on a road trip together and they break into another military base or scientific establishment or whatever. They broke into another one. They're just walking around, taking stuff, looking at stuff and everything. And I'm like, where's the security at, man? You don't have any guards, you don't have any cameras, you don't have any locked doors. They just walked in, they started walking around. The human aspect of this movie made less sense to me than the giant kaiju in this movie. Giant monsters, okay, grizzly bears, whales, dinosaurs, polar bears. Okay, I get it. There are large animals out there. Gigantic and titanic, maybe not so much. But I get the concept. I get it. They meet, they fight. It happens. These little kids walking around, walking into military installations and yelling at people. Da, da, da. I didn't understand that at all. That made no sense to me. That was vexing and exhausting. But, oh man, I want to say so much, but I don't want this to be a spoiler review. I want to tell you about some abilities that Kong had, but I don't want to tell you because I don't want to spoil it, because it just came out like today. So, they're war bats. They showed the war bat, and that war bat almost bodied Kong. In the preview, you saw he's swinging it around and swings one into the other one. It seems like that fight's going to last like 20 seconds. It only lasted a minute or two, but of that minute or two, say it was 2 minutes, for a minute and about 40 seconds, Kong was getting the business. So, he had to have a little help because that thing was going to kill him, I think. I'm pretty sure. But, he wanted to fight for the girl, chest beating, screaming and yelling. It was a good fight. It was a good match. If I were on that planet and I had a voice in the matter, I'd probably want all the kaiju dead and blow up all of the holes, or maybe send some poison gas into the, the hollow earth or whatever. Them things are dangerous, man. It's crazy dangerous, crazy dangerous. But it was a good movie. It was a good fight, several good fights. At this point, right about now, I'm going to talk about the winner of the fight. So if you don't want to know who won Godzilla vs. Kong, now is your cutoff. All right, Godzilla vs. Kong. I thought for sure Kong was going to kick the crap out of Godzilla, even if it was just barely, because he has to pick up the title King. His name is King Kong. They've been calling him Kong, alluding to the fact that he's got to earn the title King. He kind of earns King. I mean, he did have a throne and everything. He goes back to, the Middle Earth, and he sits on his throne, so I guess he's the king of those animals, but he's not really the king. He got beat by Godzilla pretty decisively. He got a lot of good licks, and they fought for a long stretch of time. And he got a lot of really good licks, and he got enough good licks in that I thought there was a chance that he was going to win. But Godzilla was like, nah, none of that, man. And Godzilla, like, he didn't want to kill him. He's like, look, this is it. What you gonna do? And he kind of roars at him. And Godzilla realizes, or King Kong realizes, okay, all right, this is a pinnacle moment. I can either say I want to keep fighting and probably get beaten, or I can give up. And Godzilla didn't really want to, or King Kong didn't want to, but it was either that or die, so he stopped fighting. It was fairly clear that Godzilla is the king of all of the monsters. There's nobody that's going to run up on him and give him that work. Except maybe Mechagodzilla. Of course, Mechagodzilla was in it. Mechagodzilla is being powered, of course, you may have heard, by the biological matter left from King Ghidorah. So essentially, his brain is running Mechagodzilla, but it's being controlled by a human. But once they got it up to full power, Mechagodzilla was like, nah, I'm gonna let King Ghidorah handle this. And he short-circuited the dude, and King Ghidorah took over. And King Ghidorah, he's about that life. He wanted to get Godzilla and Kong. He wanted to take them out. And to be honest, they barely got through that. I thought for sure they were going to die. But he could come back because he's not completely and utterly destroyed. So I'm thinking there's got to be another one. But there was no Easter egg. What's up with that? No Easter egg? Man, you got to give us a little something. Don't you see how the movies are working today? You have a great movie. At the end, we sit there, we watch the credits roll. After the credits roll, you feed us a little something. Feed us a little something. They don't feed us anything in this movie. I don't think I enjoyed that part. I wanted a little something. I wanted them to show something. Now, they did show what happened with Kong on the island, but that was the conclusion of the movie. It wasn't an Easter egg. I waited for the Easter egg. I sat there and watched it until it was complete. The lights came on, and there was nothing else. So there's that. But this movie was dramatic. They had dramatic shots. It had impressive coloring. The close-ups of Godzilla and Kong were great. It wasn't like they were fighting at nighttime and everything was gray and you were seeing flashes of either creature. It was during the broad daylight for the most part. It was good. Even when they fought underwater, it was good. It was really good. So after seeing Godzilla vs. Kong, would give this movie 9 bags of popcorn. 9 bags of popcorn. Now, I might have given it a 10, but they made me wait so long. I'm thinking that some of that is just me being anxious. 9 bags of popcorn. Because that's what I think about that. Now that you've seen this video, have you seen Kong vs. Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Kong? Let's talk about it in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like.
popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport. Popcorn passport.